Hi, and welcome to the National New Teacher Support Podcast, brought to you by New Teacher University. And I'm your host and principal, Dr. Terry Ross. The National New Teacher Support Podcast is a podcast for teachers by teachers. And teachers, I am so excited that you all have decided to join us on our second biannual 30 Days to Wellness for Educators. I'm excited this time around. I have had three experts. This is our third expert today, guys, and you are in for some gems. Today, I have with me Miss Tiffany Kelly. She's a self-care strategist and a culinarian, and she's founder of FITTeach. And she's going to share some strategies with us today around teacher wellness, because teacher wellness is so important to the future of our country. Because if we don't have well teachers teaching our children, then what are our children learning? They're learning from stressed out people, and our children are not just in our classrooms learning the curriculum. They're also learning life. They're constantly scanning their environment for cues. So if they are around teachers who value wellness, if they're in a school where the principal and the administrators value wellness, those students will value wellness. So everything that we do from the time we make it into the school building in the morning until we leave in the evening, we're actually teaching. So when our students see us regulating, when our students see us taking a step back, when they see us taking time to just take a deep breath and we involve them in it, when they see us taking a walk, all of that is a part of the teaching process. So I'm so excited that we have Ms. Kelly with us today to share with us some self-care strategies. And I hope today that I did not know that Ms. Kelly was a culinarian, so we should even get some food tips today. And I enjoy eating some good, healthy food. So I'm just excited, and I won't try to tell you anything else about Ms. Kelly at this time. If you would just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and tell us, why did you start the self-care strategist and culinarian career under the name of FITTeach?
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Terry. Yes, culinary is something I actually adopted recently. But I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I am a 23-year educator with the last almost 14 years spent in instructional coaching in K-5 schools. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I live in the Metro Atlanta area. And I love what I do in terms of the wellness piece, but I also love my instructional coaching as well. But I have a passion for wellness for educators because of my own journey. I had a weight loss journey. I lost over 80 pounds naturally. I changed my habits. And I did all of that in the beginning while still being in the classroom. And so when people tell me that it's difficult, I'm like, but I've done it. I'm telling you, it's doable.
Yes.
Um, FITTeach, which stands the word fit. Originally, the company was developed around fitness because I did have a journey and I became really involved with fitness and working out and became a fitness instructor under my trainer. And so originally it was to help teachers have more movement, exercise. But now it has evolved into a whole brand that's really around helping K-12 school districts and district leaders really place wellness at the forefront so that more teachers are resilient, they're healthy, they're energized, and better able to serve their school community. And so the word FIT stands for fulfilled, innovative, and thriving. Because
Okay.
that's what we want, right? We want our teachers to be fulfilled, innovative, and thriving. And not just our classroom teachers, but educators as a whole.
Yes.
Because if we're not fulfilled, innovative, and thriving, then we're not there to serve our kids. Because when we're fit, in that sense, then we're able to better serve our students and the community. And so that's pretty much how FITTeach came about. And it's also to honor my former principal. Her name was Wanda Harmon, and she passed away in 2014 of congestive heart failure. She was 57 years old, and she didn't live to enjoy her retirement. She retired
Yes.
that year, I think in March of that year, and she only enjoyed maybe 7 months of retirement, and she spent a lot of those last days in the hospital bed. And she gave 38 years to the school district.
Yes.
And so when I go places to speak or to present, different workshops, it's also to honor her legacy because she had a great impact on my life as a school leader And so she taught me a lot of different things, and she always pushed me to be my best. She taught me how to be thick-skinned and handle certain different situations, how to, really put the students first. And so anything I do is also to honor her, because I feel like as I continue my work, it also continues her legacy. And so that's pretty much how FITTeach got
Thank
started.
you so much for sharing that. Say her name again, please.
Wanda Harmon.
Say it again.
Wanda Harmon.
Thank you so much, because so much part of New Teacher University is so that new teachers will not come into the profession with that mindset that we came in with 20 and 25 and 30 years ago, that we're here to save all of the children.
Right.
We're here to teach all of the children.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to teach them. But we when we came into the profession back during the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, they were saying, oh, if you choose teaching, you're choosing to be the mother, the father, the
Yep.
counselor, the social worker, the pastor, the car mom sometimes. No, we're not. We're choosing to teach. And I
Absolutely.
know right now it seems like there's a few of us out here that's beating the drum around teacher wellness, and it's not getting as much attention as it should, but
You're
it's
right.
happening. We need to keep this voice out there, because if we don't have well teachers, you said fulfilled
Fulfilled, innovative, and thriving.
and thriving, fulfilled, innovative, and thriving, because we're giving so much of ourselves. Who's filling us?
Absolutely.
How are we remaining fulfilled? So that's what these strategies are about. How do we center ourselves and make sure that we are centering ourselves and that we are being fulfilled, that we're filling our own cup? Because if our cup is not full, we can't pour into anyone else. And
Absolutely.
administrators are going to really have to hear this, and they're going to have to hear it loud and clear, because the post pandemic principal is going to have to lead with more compassion than any principal in modern history,
Mm-hmm.
because teachers had an awakening during the pandemic, and many teachers decided, okay, I'm good at what I do, and my evaluation doesn't determine who I am. Or I don't have to come in 2 hours early and stay 2 hours late for me to feel like I'm a good teacher. I'm enough as I am.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for answering the call around teacher wellness and for joining this conversation.
Yes.
So thank you so much again, Ms. Kelly, for joining us today and for sharing the experiences that you've gained over the last 23 years. So when we're looking at new teachers and we're talking to teachers, period, what's one of the first things that you would tell them about teacher wellness and something that they can do to pour into themselves?
Well, one of the first things that I believe is important is being able to take that time to step back and breathe. A lot of times we're always on the go, but we don't take a minute to pause. We're thinking, like you just said a few minutes ago, we want to stay late and do all these extra things. We get frustrated when things don't happen with the way they should, or with students and things like that. But a lot of times we just need to take a moment to just pause. For example, when I was a classroom teacher, I used to come in the morning, and I had a rule, and my teammates knew, if you see me at my desk in the morning with my head down, or you see me sitting there and quiet, don't open my classroom door, because that was my time, my quiet time to pause, to breathe, to read my scripture, to ground myself for the day, whatever I need to do to get myself prepared. And I didn't want someone to interrupt my that time for
Mm-hmm.
myself. And then oftentimes, even for lunch, taking that real lunch, not a working lunch, not checking papers, but really taking a moment to just pause and take care of you. And so, and even like now as an instructional coach, I do the same thing. So one of the first strategies that I always recommend as a teacher in general is box breathing. And the reason why I recommend box breathing is because it's easy to do. It takes little time. You don't have to have a YouTube video. You don't need an audio. It's simply finding you a square on a wall somewhere, a window, or whatever, or imagine you have one, and taking time to follow those steps. It's like a 4 count pause. There's an inhale, there's an exhale, there's a pause, then you have a hold. So it helps you to actually de-stress. If you're having a really stressful moment, it's a great practice to put in place. It will center you back again. And so that way, like if you are really upset about something that may have occurred with a student or a colleague or whatever, it will allow you in that moment to de-stress almost immediately. It will improve your mood as well as your and also calm your emotions. So I use it even like today in my work because I work with a lot of people in the building. Like so, like adults are a little more stressful than kids most of the time. Sometimes,
Yes, because we have real problems. They worried
right?
about their cell phones.
And
We
we
got to
bring
pay for it.
right, and we bring it to work with us. And so there have been moments where if I have to go speak to a teacher and I know that I have some feedback to give that may not always be the best, or just dealing with those things, I take a moment to breathe and inhale with a hold, exhale. And so it's really simple to do, but it's effective, very
So
effective.
talk
Yeah.
me through one.
So for example, if I wanted you to right now, I would say I'm gonna ask you to inhale for 4. So I can't talk into at the same time. So you have your box, right? So you're gonna start at the corner
Okay.
and you're gonna at the lower and you're gonna inhale, hold for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 4, and then you're gonna inhale again for 4, hold it for 4, release it, and pause and do it all over again.
Thank you. And I could feel that pause
Mm-hmm.
because I have not been pausing. So I was doing it wrong. I just go in, hold for 4, let it out for 4. But then there's a
Right.
pause between the 4.
It's a pause between the next one.
The next one, uh-huh.
Yes. And it really helps to de-stress. And so it's real simple. And it was funny because a couple of months ago, I was a presenter for the U.S. Department of Education's National Blue Ribbon Schools event. I was
Yes.
one of 4 presenters, and my of course my workshop was on self-care. And there was a superintendent in that session, and we did this activity at the end. Well, right toward the end when we were sharing, reflections, she said, this was so on time because in the moment while we were doing this breathing exercise, my school district was experiencing a walkout. And she said, because of this exercise, I was able to relax and respond differently to what was going on in my district as I'm sitting in this session, receiving text messages. And so
Yes.
it works. And so I was so glad that she was able to experience that real time. But
Yes.
though that's one of the things that I would highly recommend because as new teachers, you are bombarded with a lot of different things, and you have to take a moment to just pause and be unapologetic about it.
Yes.
Like I said before, there are moments when I first started in one of my schools, and in the morning when I come in, I have a me time. Don't knock on my door. Don't come in if you see me at my desk. At lunchtime, I had some protected time because you deserve that and honor it. So don't spend your lunchtime doing work, talking to people all the time. Find a moment just to be quiet and to take that breath. And I guarantee
Yes.
you're gonna feel a difference. Guarantee.
And setting boundaries is a part of self-care.
Absolutely.
And as educators, that's one of the things we have problems with because we're always saying yes. And it seems
Right.
selfish. In fact, I was having a conversation with someone today, and I think it was my wife this morning, and she said something about something she was going to do. And she said, and I don't want to seem selfish. And I said, no, ma'am, that's not selfish. Thank you for putting yourself first.
Absolutely. I always say
Absolutely.
when I'll have a quote and I say, um, no, of course, as we know is a complete, but when you say no, you are honoring yourself. So
Yes.
when you say no, you are honoring yourself. And it's okay to say no. You don't have to be everything to everybody. I was telling a group of teachers a couple of months ago when I was doing a workshop. I think I was in Ohio somewhere, and I was telling them how you don't have to be in every single after school program activity. Pick one and stick with that one. Don't
Yes.
spread yourself all over the place because it's stressful. It's stressful, and they expect you to show up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you. Our first strategy was box breathing.
Yes, box
So what?
breathing.
Yes. So what's strategy number 2?
Strategy number 2 is eating healthy.
Yes.
So that's my favorite one because I love to cook. That's how the culinary part came about. Because in addition to FITTeach, I have a cooking brand, a culinary brand called Cooking with Tiffany. And
Okay.
so Cooking with Tiffany has evolved over the last couple of years. Um, But my weight loss journey is what really triggered it. I didn't even know I was going to be doing all that. But back in the day when I first started my weight loss journey, my trainer gave me this meal plan. I'm like, is she serious? I'm a big girl. Like, she really think I'm gonna follow this, you know? And but I had to get creative with my food, cooking things differently because I wanted to lose the weight. I wanted to be healthy. I was on 2 medications for high blood pressure, and I wanted to do things differently. And so over time, I became really creative with my food, which helped me to successfully lose the weight.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, and I think it was 2018, I actually posted a picture of a black rice dish that I cooked, and people kept inboxing me and asking me on the post, "What is black rice? What is that?" So I went live to actually share what black rice is. Black rice is one of the most healthiest types of rice you can eat.
Yes.
It's high in antioxidants. It was called the forbidden rice or the emperor's rice because it was only eaten by the emperor. It was to preserve his health. So that way he would be around for years to come. And so the common folks weren't really allowed to eat it because it was reserved for him.
Yes.
And so because of all the health benefits of it. And so I was looking for an alternative to brown rice. And so black rice was something I found on the shelf in my local supermarket. I decided to go home and try it. And so one of the things as far as eating healthy, healthy food does taste good. We just have to be creative and
Mm-hmm.
find new recipes that appeal to us. Because when we eat healthier, we're able to combat stress. We're able
Yes.
to be able to have longevity in terms of our own lives. If we do it over time, we avoid things like heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, those things that are taking us out as people in general. But even as educators, you know how many educators I work with that have so many health issues, but I'm looking at what they're eating and I'm like, you have to change this. And so that's
Yes.
one of the things that's changing our eating habits, being able to, add more whole grains, add more vegetables and fruits, lean proteins. If you're someone who eats meat, everybody has different dietary needs, but there are things that you can do that will, if you're, for example, you're vegan or vegetarian, that's great. But
Mm-hmm.
also be mindful, even in those types of dietary preferences, that you still have to avoid the processed foods because they're out there for those places in those areas as well. And so encouraging more healthier foods and being able to do more things that are either grilled or baked, not fried. The other big pet peeve of mine that I always like to talk about when it comes to food is also our intake of water as educators. I know it's sometimes a challenge, so I also want to encourage leaders to maybe have some kind of like plan or process where you let teachers know that drink your water. But if you need to be released to go to the restroom, we'll get somebody to hold your class for a moment.
Yes.
Because me as an instructional coach, that's what I do. If a teacher needs me to go to the restroom, I'm gonna help go stand at her door, go teach her class until she comes back because water is essential to every single organ in the body. And a lot of times when I talk to teachers and they have different challenges, something they're not feeling well, they have brain fog, they have no energy. It's usually if I ask them, how much water have you drank today? And they're like, oh well, I didn't. That's usually part of the problem. So drinking more water. A lot of teachers come to school in the morning with big cups of soda and coffee and juice, but there's no water
We
nowhere to
need
be
it.
found. But water
We
helps.
need it.
I know, but it helps us also. Water is good, helps us with our energy levels, helps us with our digestion, be able to move waste out of the body. So it's very essential that we do more water. And they say technically we should do a half our body weight in water. But every to each his own, consult with your physicians before you do that. But
Yes.
you're not drinking enough water. It's time to get that water in by any means necessary.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you. You elevated some things about the teaching profession that some research I ran across years ago. And I think my doctor told me that educators have the highest amount of urinary tract infections because they're waiting to go to the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
waiting to go to the restroom, and that begins to cause problems.
Yep.
And, for professionals with degrees, that shouldn't be the case.
Absolutely.
That you can't go to the restroom when you need to go to
Absolutely.
the restroom. And it's something that I even deal with. Like there are times in my home, we're both educators, my wife and I, and she'll say, oh, well, I don't want to eat this today because we have this, or I can't drink too much water because we have that. That our profession is even dictating what we eat and drink,
Hmm.
because we
Absolutely.
don't want to have to run to the restrooms and things like that. So we really have to thank you for elevating that, because teachers, you need that fresh fruit. You need those fresh fruits and
Yes.
vegetables. And there's research out now that we need the water from our fruits.
Yes. It's a
That the
different kind of it's a different kind of water, actually.
Yes, and it's better for our bodies.
Yes.
And in the summer, I do that because I start around the 1st of July. I start eating watermelon until Labor Day almost.
Yeah. Now you
And
gotta
I
be careful with that watermelon though.
Why?
Be careful with the watermelon. So watermelon is a great fruit, but it's also high on the glycemic index.
Hmm.
So be mindful of how much of it that you eat.
Yes.
So it's
Now that's
higher
for
in
people who
sugar.
have to worry about the glycemic index. I don't have to
Right.
worry about it.
But you don't want to trip, but you don't want to turn anything on neither. So
Yes.
be mindful of how much of it that you eat also.
Okay.
So for example, it's always good to do like a lot of the berries are safer because they're low on the
Yes.
glycemic index. Because even with like grapes, okay, it's great, but it's still a little higher up. So you don't want to overdo those fruits still
Yes. I see what you're saying.
because you can still be exposed to being, turning on something that doesn't have to be turned on because you're eating too much of it.
Well, and
So
I do balance it, because I all summer long I'm blueberries, strawberries,
good.
raspberries, watermelon, just cantaloupe. I mean, just
Cantaloupe,
fruit all summer. But watermelon is that thing that you can, especially a good seeded watermelon, you
yes,
can only get it about a good 3, 4 months out of the year, and that's like from July, really by the end of August it's over. But
pretty much. Hmm.
you can stretch it into September if you want to. But yeah, I'm a Southerner and I love that. So thank you so much for sharing that. Absolutely.
Welcome.
We don't need to let our jobs dictate what we're eating and how much we're drinking.
Right.
Teachers, let's make sure that you prioritize your culinary health, your eating. Make sure that you prioritize that, because I during the pandemic we didn't become vegan, but I moved away from meat for breakfast. Then I moved away from meat for lunch. And I have some meat in the evening. And it's really helped out. And my entire family, we all lost about 40 pounds each.
Hmm. Makes a
And
difference.
we're maintaining it. And, of course, I eat meat. I mean, I hadn't met a chicken wing that I don't like, pretty much. However, I watch how many and how often I eat it. So everything in moderation. So thank you
Absolutely.
so much for sharing that. And that was some good information. What's the next strategy you'd like to share with our teachers for the 30 Day to Wellness for educators?
So the next one is incorporating more movement and exercise
Yes.
because very important. Um, so and I say movement and exercise intentionally because a lot of times the two have been kind of meshed together or used interchangeably as far as movement, but they're actually two different things.
Mm.
And so when we talk about movement are things that's not necessarily things that we do that are not necessarily attached to fitness. It's not structured. For example, just by choosing to walk up the stairs, being more mobile. Teachers don't sit all day, so we do move, but just being
Mhm.
more mindful of even like how much you're moving, how are you getting enough movement in throughout the day? Whether it be doing some things like walking to the store or gardening, just things that you do just to keep your body moving is very important. So that's one side of it. The other side is exercise. So those we talk about, those are structured things. Like whether you're intentionally, if you have certain fitness goals, movement doesn't necessarily have a goal attached to it, but
Yes.
fitness does. And so being able to be more active, whether it be for cardiovascular health, flexibility, muscle, building muscle. And so being able to do a fitness class, jogging, running, those kind of things that you're intentionally doing because you have a goal in mind. And they both, to me, are important together because we as educators, especially those of us who are not necessarily have the best diets, you want to incorporate a better diet and movement so that way and exercise so that way you overall taking care of yourself as far as your overall health and well-being. And so even for myself, like I have a whole gym in my basement, And so this week I said, okay, Tiffany, it's been a really busy week, but we gotta get back downstairs and get some exercises, some more structured
Yes.
exercise. And I move all day long, but I want to get some more structured exercise in because I know that I have some pounds I want to lose. I want to make sure that I keep my muscles nice and toned and things like that. I want to get back in the swing of things because I used to compete. So I want to get back, I don't want to be all cut up like that, but I want to get back where somewhere in the middle.
And
And
it's
so
okay with being cut up like that.
I know, but like, no, that's a whole different beast by itself.
Yes.
We talk about getting lean, like down to almost zero body fat to compete.
Yes.
I don't want to go that far, but I do
Yes.
want to be in a place where I am. I like to stay fit and active, and so
Yes.
I want to encourage you. And also, it helps us able to deal with the stresses of our day because exercise in general is a good stress reliever. It allows us to also be able to deal with our students because and things that we do, be able to stand and talk and all those things that we do throughout the day. It increases our endurance, and so if we incorporate more exercise, we're able to deal with more of the stresses of the day because we are training ourselves, we're conditioning our bodies to move more into exercise.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for telling the difference between movement and exercise. And there is a way that you can turn movement into a little exercise, maybe on your lunch break and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, where if you decide that you're going to go up and down the stairs 10 times, because
Absolutely.
that is sustained.
Absolutely. And I used to not lately, but last semester, what I used to do when I stayed late after school, some days I would stay late to do different projects or whatever, or even before I went home, if I knew it was going to rain, because I love outside, I would go to
Yes.
our gym and walk the perimeter of the gym.
Yes.
I would bring my sneakers, so it's intentional with a goal in mind, and I would walk laps around the school gym. Before the pandemic, I used to have a kind of like a walking club. So get some friends involved. Get you a couple of
Absolutely.
teachers. And I used to walk the school building. We had a whole route around the building. And so the kids would see us who were in after the after school program, they would see us walking and exercising together. So that also motivates them that, oh, you know what? Our teachers are taking care of themselves. We gotta do that too. Can we come walk with you all? And so just being able to find ways to limit the excuses. If you know when you go home, you're not going to put those gym shoes on and you're not going to get out there and walk, then do it before you leave the school building if you can.
Absolutely. And even when you pick your students up for lunch, if you're in an elementary building, take them the long way around the building
That's
back.
right.
And just keep apologizing to the principal. If he say, "Why are you all over here?" "Oh, it was something going on that way. It was water on the floor. It doesn't matter. Tell him anything." All right. But get you some extra steps in, and your students will appreciate that,
Mm-hmm.
and you will see the benefit of them having that extra walk. One of the most difficult things for me being in school was sitting in a room all day when I was a student. It was literally painful.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see it in the boys' face now, and even the young ladies, that some of those kids, it's painful to sit in the
Mm-hmm.
classroom.
Yep.
And it's a matter like, can I do this for another 10 years? And this is in the second grade. So, um, having given your students an opportunity to do some movement, do some stretch
Mm-hmm.
breaks, and you do it with them, incorporating it into your classroom,
Yes.
it will go so much farther because your students need that stress break too. You can do box breathing with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. You can do intentional movement with them. They can stand up and walk in place for 30 seconds. They can stretch for 10 seconds. It's
Yep.
just a number of things that we can do to incorporate this with our students, and it will only help them learn how to regulate and how to manage themselves.
Absolutely. Because we
So
are the
thank you.
example.
Go on. I'm sorry.
No, so we are the example. Like we are the example. And so
Absolutely.
if we start it, they're gonna follow. When I started my weight loss journey, and I was a fourth grade teacher, I taught all girls, and I started bringing my fruit. They started bringing their fruit. I started bringing my water. They started bringing their water. So it's where we are the example, and if we change our habits, kids will follow right along with us.
And somewhere right now, you have some fourth grader that's now 20 years old walking around bougie with their water and fruit. And
Yes,
it's because of you.
absolutely.
And that's beautiful. And that's what we want our students to do. We want to share good habits with them. And so thank you so much for sharing this with us today. Do you have anything that you'd like to share about your company before we go?
At FITTeach, we're really passionate about helping educators level up their wellness and making sure that leaders understand the importance of taking care the teachers in the building. Because if they're not there, then who's going to teach our babies? And so we at FITTeach are really looking forward to working with more school districts and educators, even on the other side of the brand, helping educators to eat healthy, to get more active, to really take those moments to pause. And if you're looking to really connect with us to bring a program to your school or workshop, or even on the personal side of the brand, reach out to us at FITTeach.com.
Thank you so much, Tiffany Kelly, for sharing that from FITTeach.com. And guys, it's nothing like being well and in the classroom. It's nothing like being well anywhere, because if you don't have your health, wealth is not even important because you can't enjoy it. So I have made health and wealth, actually. Those are really the two things that I deal with now. If it's not health and wealth, I'm not dealing with too much extra stuff. And under health comes our mental, our spiritual, our physical, everything comes under health. Our love life, everything is that healthy. Our finances come under health, because if you're broke, that's a whole nother issue. But one of the things that I want to elevate is that eating healthy is actually cheaper.
Sure.
It takes some time to process the stuff. I'm not talking about going out buying the impossible things. I'm talking about getting some fresh fruits and vegetables, washing them, chopping them, and preparing a meal. It's actually cheaper than any other form of eating that I've had. And you get full quicker a lot of time. Once your body get adjusted to eating the salads and get adjusted to the cucumbers and whatever else you're eating, it's cheaper because I could go to the farmer's market and spend $30 and have an abundance of fresh fruits and vegetables for the week. You really can. So when you're looking at preparing your foods and eating healthy, you can't go wrong with buying fresh fruits and vegetables. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today here on the National New Teacher Support Podcast, as we're bringing our second biannual 30 Days to Wellness for Educators to a close. Today we were at day 26, and I'm so excited. We have just a few more days left. We will be ending next week, right as we approach Teachers Appreciation Week. And I call it Teachers Appreciation Month, because we need to always celebrate teachers. Anyone that walks into a classroom of 20 to 30 or 35 students, they're very brave and they need celebrating. So thank you so much for joining us here on the National New Teacher Support Podcast, as we bring our 30 Day to Wellness for Educators campaign to a close, because we want to always elevate wellness for teachers. And we want to be intentional about it, not just during Teachers Appreciation or around a holiday. We need to be intentional about wellness at all times. And we need to make sure that our teachers have the proper breaks that they need sometimes during the day. And one thing I want to elevate before we close is that sometimes when teachers are in the classroom and they've dealt with some things around children, it could be some students had an altercation or whatever. Oftentimes we send that teacher right back into that environment after they've just calmed it down, without giving them a 5-minute break. Go to the lounge and here's a bottle of water, just sit down and re-regulate yourself. And I've even been guilty of it as a principal, that, something happened in the classroom, we calm it down and we move right on. But toward the end of my principalships, I would ask teachers, well, just take a break for a second, we'll stand here. And because I understood that in order for that teacher to go right back in that environment, they needed to regulate. They needed to take a moment and breathe, so that the students can see them calm and centered and not frazzled and can't get themselves back together the whole class period. And one of the reasons that I did that is because as a teacher, if things happen around my class, usually nothing happened in my class. It usually happened outside of the door, because I was at the down stairwell. I would end up breaking up altercations or stopping things and have to go right in and teach. And I didn't realize sometimes that I couldn't get started the way I wanted to get started, or I bought that me breaking that altercation up into the classroom with my students, and they're looking at me like, we didn't do anything. We're in here ready to learn. And you've brought that energy from the hallway back into your classroom. So let's make sure that we really pay attention to our teachers. Thank you for honoring your former principal. Could you say her name again, please?
Wanda Harmon.
Wanda Harmon. So we definitely want to honor Ms. Harmon for giving 38 years to this country, because when teachers are in that classroom teaching, they are developing our military. They are developing our political offices and people that are running for political offices. And for her to give 38 years and to only enjoy a few of those months afterwards, she's a real soldier.
Mhm.
So we definitely want to honor her, and your company will do well because you're doing it in her honor.
Yeah.
Yes. So do you have anything that you'd like to say to new teachers to encourage them?
I want to tell new teachers to give yourself some grace.
Yes.
Give yourself some grace. You are doing an amazing job. No one is perfect. And like I always tell teachers, when I'm rolling out something new as far as curriculum, it's going to be a little dirty, a little messy in the beginning because it's new. But
Yes.
give yourself some grace so that way you are not so hard on yourself. I will also say to seek help. You can't do it all by yourself, and welcome other veterans and other teachers in the building who are doing it and doing it well. Link up with them and ask for help. If you have an instructional coach in your building, that's because I work with a lot of new teachers when they come to my building. Seek out that instructional coach. Follow some of the things that they're just recommending and allow them to work with you side by side. Be that new teacher that actually goes to them and say, hey, can you come help me with this? Can you show me how to do this? Don't be afraid to ask for help because that's what we are there for. And that will help lighten the load throughout your first couple of years in the profession because that's what got me through my first couple of years. That I had some amazing coaches. That's what made me want to become a coach because I had some amazing people who have really helped me, which I had some rough first couple of years. And so I will tell you that give yourself some grace, speak positive over yourself each and every day,
Yes.
and don't be afraid to ask for the help.
And asking for help is a part of wellness.
Absolutely. It's self-care. Absolutely.
Yes, asking for help is a part of self-care. No one
Yes,
is expecting you to know everything and come into the
that's right.
classroom just ready to be that dynamic five-star teacher.
That's
So
right.
we know that you're going to get better and make incremental gains.
Yeah.
So just keep coming back, keep going, keep improving. Thank you so much for joining us here on the National New Teacher
Happy.
Support Podcast, brought to you by New Teacher University. I'm your host and principal, Dr. Terry Ross. And teachers, remember that you're the reason that some child is getting up every day and coming to school. And when they don't see you, they're worried. So we're not telling you you have to be at work
Mhm.
every day, but just know that you matter and that some child every day that you're their best hope and they're looking forward to you. So thank you again for joining us on the National New Teacher Support Podcast brought to you by New Teacher University. Thank you.